Well, do you believe it? I've seen them to move. I've seen so many things that I did. Hi guys, what's going on? So I'm figuring out this riff I have. I am going to just go through and make a whole song here. So if you haven't seen my videos before, that's what I do. I just write and I basically show you the whole process, and the idea is that you can see how it works and see that it's not really all that complicated. Now I'm not going to go into super technical detail. I don't like show you every intricate thing on my DAW and all that kind of stuff. This is basically more like the outline for writing a song and whatnot. So essentially I usually come up with a riff, and that's going to be like my A section. Then I'll come up with another riff, and that's going to be the B section, which is like verse chorus, and sometimes there'll be a third, like it'll be A, B, C, and it'll be like verse, pre-chorus, chorus. It depends on the song. And then the idea though is like whether it's a 2 or 3 part thing, I'll take it and I'll repeat it 3 times, and that's pretty much the song structure. Sometimes, you know, double the outro chorus or something like that. Just depends on the song. It's not set in stone. It's just like an outline that I can use and keep everything in order in my mind, so as I'm going through I don't mess up. So I always open up this Logic Pro 10 session. It's a template that I have. I've created it over like trial and error for a couple years, and it's just kind of like the sound I kind of like to use for now, so it might change eventually, but for right now I'm really happy with it, and I've been using it for like a year honestly, because minor tweaks here and there, but I really like it. So anyway, I have Bias Amp 2 open, and that's a plugin that I use. That's going on 6 guitar tracks. I have a guitar solo track, and then I have a bass guitar track. So each of the guitars, except for the solo, are panned left and right. So I'm going to do 2 main guitars left and right, and then I'm going to do like overdubs, and that's just to thicken up the chorus and such, and do little other things that are cool. And do other things that are cool. And I kind of just, you know, like to make a really nice, thick, interesting guitar part. I don't do anything like super complicated. I'm not the best player in the world. I just, you know, I'm adequate, and I just write cool songs and I just put them together, and I don't really, you know, I'm not trying to be fancy. I just want to write stuff and, you know, put something into it. So anyway, let's just get this started. So I came up with this riff, and so weird thing that happens is I keep like having these weird dreams, and I hear songs in my head in my dream, and then I like wake up and I like jot down the lyrics quick and sing the melody into my phone, or type it out, or not type it, but play it onto a little piano thing that's in GarageBand so I don't forget to get the thing. So that kind of happened here yet again. So I just have this. I figured out the tempo. It's 86 beats per minute. I'm on the left guitar track right now, and I have a drum loop going that I use for a metronome. I don't like the clicking sound. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, the riff is this. It's like an A minor thing, and then the chorus is going to jump into C major, which is the parallel major. Just root position chords, nothing fancy. So that's going to be it. So basically the verse progression is going to go through 4 phrases. The chorus progression goes through 2. Yeah, let's just get started. So I'm going to record this thing. I usually start a measure in just to give myself a little room that I can, like, you know, have some silence in the beginning, and I'm set. So here we go. You know what, actually, I think I might turn my volume knob down, do a little more clean. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I got that done. That's the right, jeez, no, that's the left side. Brr. So if you have headphones in, you can probably hear that pretty well. But yeah, that's just all the left side guitar. Now I'm going to do an overdub, not an overdub exactly, but the main guitar. Things aren't working in my head today. So anyway, I'm going to do the main guitar on the right side, and I'm pretty much going to play the exact same thing. So it's basically just going to make a right hand side, which creates a nice stereo image. It's like got human error. There's little like inconsistencies in my playing and stuff, and that makes it sound really nice. So let's just do that. Okay, so the right side's done. Brush my hat on the microphone. I feel like I'm getting a text or something like that, and I am. Who is this? I might kind of approximate what I did on the other side, but I'm going to change it up. So instead of doing like the third, I'm going to do the fifth and that kind of thing, and just thicken up the chords. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so that's right side done for the dubs. Now I'm going to do... So yeah, I want to do like a lead part, so I just have to figure out what that would be. Okay, so I got that done. I had a little blip at the end where I messed it up, but honestly, I'm probably just going to fade it out so you won't even notice it. I don't really care. I don't copy and paste those because it's just kind of nice to just go through and evolve the thing as it's going. So it's kind of like improvised, and like it's not exactly the same thing all the way through, so, you know, it's always interesting. Okay, now I'm going to do a right-hand side, and I'm not going to do what I just did, but I'm going to do something else instead. Okay, so that side's done. And again, I kept evolving it as I went, so I just like, you know, mildly changed it, but it creates a really cool texture underneath. So yeah, I just like how that sounds all together. All right, now I'm going to do a guitar solo. I have to find which measure that starts on. It's just improvise a little, see if I come up with anything cool. I might just totally improvise this though. That was nice. I think that'll work. Let me listen to it, make sure it's as good as I think it was. Okay, so let me grab my bass guitar, tune it up, and then I'll be right with you. Okay, so I just finished tuning my bass up. So the verse is like just basically A to F. That's really all it is. It's A minor to F major. So I kind of want to like do a little like... I obviously don't want to just follow root notes because that would be like... that would be boring. That's kind of cool. Let me try it. Alright, so bass part's done. Now, let me hit save. Okay, so now I'm going to do the drums, so I'm going to move the camera over so you can actually see that, and we'll get started. I always forget to turn the input off. So yeah, I'll move that over the camera, and let's do it. Okay, so now for the drum part, this is going to be a really easy thing. Hopefully it's going to take me one take. I shouldn't jinx myself, but it just happened. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, turn this mic off. I only literally bring it over here to just say, hey, I'm at the drums, but, you know, whatever. So yeah, I turn it off, though, and give you direct audio just because these are splatty. I explain this literally every video, but they're splatty and they pick up pretty bad in this, so direct audio it is. Direct audio it is. Ugh. Okay, here we go. Okay, I got the drums done. I was really hoping I got that ending right. So you don't hear it on here because like I cut after the first chorus usually because it's like same info repeated. But I did this weird ending where I like everything mostly cut off except a couple instruments and then the bass trailed out. So I was like trying to get the drums to do kind of similar but not like interfere. I think I got it. It was totally improv and I think I nailed it. So I'm just going to hope I did. And that's going to be my one take anyway. So I don't really care. Worst comes to worst, I'll fade it out or do something strange with an effect. So, okay, so now I'm going to move on to vocals. So just give me a second to slide the camera right back over. And actually in between, I'm going to set the drums to Superior Drummer 3 now because those were my monitoring sounds. That's Audio Assault Druminator. And it's a really good program, but it's just kind of like, I like Superior Drummer 3 better. It's just a little more involved and you can get a lot more intricate with the detail of what you want to do for the sound. So anyway, regardless, that's going to happen, and then I'll start doing the vocals. So see you in a second. Check. Okay, so here we go. Now, I said earlier that I basically had these vocals finished, which is true. They're on my phone here. If you ever see me with my phone, I wrote the lyrics ahead of time. If I'm using this notepad, I wrote them here. So, like I said, I'd kind of dreamed this song up. By the way, I kind of wondered, like, if anyone could see this thing sitting on my desk, like this weird mask thing. Like, you would think it's like the coronavirus stuff going around, but actually, I'm trying to make a face shield for underneath my Spider-Man mask for when I like do a Spider-Man cosplay. So it kind of like gets rid of the nose and mouth impression. So just in case you wondered why that weird thing was sitting on my desk, I doubt anyone noticed it, but just in case. Like, I have this, so I'm just gonna practice it once or twice because you know. Just got to get used to doing it. Like, I know what I want to do, but I just got to do it once or twice before I can actually record it. Well, to believe it, I've seen so many things that I get to lose. Well, do you believe it? I'm telling this to you. I've seen so many things and now I choose, yeah. Do you believe it? I've seen so many things that won't tell. Well, do you believe it? I know your thoughts and dreams, you know, never know, yeah. I choose, yeah. With my arms wide open, I'm standing in love. Take the crowd, I'm sitting on the throne. If no one sees you, you get to it, love. Let's die for a minute. So the overdubs here are going to be kind of convenient for this one because I'm a little bit off here and there. So they basically accomplish two things. The first one is I turn them down and I pan them, and they kind of like create a chorusing effect underneath the chorus parts, which helps to just elevate it above the guitars and whatnot. And then the other thing they accomplish is there are extra takes. So I'm singing the exact same thing. So if I messed up a little in the first one and I was like, say, a little flat or a little sharp on a note, chances are I got it right in the dub. So I'll just chop that at a convenient spot, slide the dub version up, the main version down, just like on that like note or phrase or whatever, and then I'll crossfade them and then problem solved. Because if it's on one of the dubs and it's a little bit off, it's turned down so low that it doesn't really matter, and it's basically there just for effect. I don't think I'm standing in love. Singing over the original freaking trick because I always forget to turn to the next damn. With my arms wide open, I'm standing in love. Take the crowd, I'm sitting on the throne. If no one sees you, you get to it, love. Let's stop for a minute, lives on the tombstone. And now I choose, yeah. With my arms wide open, I'm standing in love, yeah. With it all in the open, there's nowhere left to run, yeah. With it all in the open, there's nowhere left to run. With my arms wide open, I'm standing in love. With my arms wide open. Okay, so now I always hit my hat on that microphone. So now that I got the vocals done, because I do not believe I want to do any harmonies here. Let me just listen to it, see if I hear anything in my head. shoes, yeah. With my arms wide open, I'm standing in the love. Nah, I don't think I do. So, okay, let's do this. I'm going to, for some reason, I have a compressor and EQ on there. It was probably on while I was talking earlier in the video, and probably sounded a little weird. Basically, I have this EQ. It's FET, or Studio FET, and it's a built-in Logic compressor. The Logic compressors are pretty good, actually, so I just use them all of the time. I have a threshold. It's usually like anywhere from -10 to -20, depending on the song. I got a 4:1 ratio. The makeup gain I don't even touch. I have the attack all the way up to 0 milliseconds. I have the release at currently 48 milliseconds. And then I click on, there's a thing that's called distortion, and it's off, soft, hard, or clip. I always go to soft. I don't touch anything like the limiter or anything, and the mix is always 100%. So I then put on a channel strip EQ, which keeps popping up behind the compressor, I see. So that has the lows cut off and then the highs cut off. It's like anything over 11,000 and anything below like 100. That essentially like just gets rid of the noise from the microphone, like air noise and hissing. And then the final thing I put on is reverb called Chromaverb, that it goes mono to stereo. That's what I put on all of the tracks. The only exception being for the dubs, I don't put on that distortion setting on the compressor. So I'm going to do it here for the chorus. But then the overdubs, they're not going to get it. I just set this compressor as my default with the distortion setting off, so I can just flick it on for the main vocals. I figured I'd do more dubs than mains. So okay, so now I did just throw them on. I do adjust them per song, like, you know, for taste. Okay, now the dubs, I'm going to grab those. I always go like to -10 dB. And then I pan them. I always like to go like -35, +35. Once again, that's just like my go-to, and then I adjust it per song if necessary. So I'm just going to do this like as a little preliminary mix just to show you the idea anyway. Now that I've done that and I've turned those down, this is what they sound like. So it's like a really nice thick vocal now, and those like nasty like doubling effects don't happen anymore because they're turned down and panned, so they're like just a little bit away from it, and it just makes it sound like a bigger, wider main vocal, and the reverb also helps to glue them together. And that is all I do to my vocals. So sometimes, like, you know, I'll automate a reverb to turn on or off a little bit if I want something for effect. And sometimes when I do my screams, I turn this thing on, usually after the compressor, called clip distortion, and I have a preset. And it just adds a little extra grit so the scream sounds more impressive than it actually is, because my screams are not screams, they're fry screams, really. They sound good. They sound like screams, but they're super quiet. And, like, if, you know, you don't compress it and throw a little extra grit on there, you can kind of tell. But you do that, and it sounds like you're screaming your face off. So that's what I do. All the vocals are running into a bus. I just have a preamp model that Line 6 does. So yeah, the preamp is like pretty good though. I just kind of like how it adds a little extra harmonics to my vocals. I then put on a compressor that's just barely touching the vocals just for the sake of making sure nothing is spiking. And then I have a tape saturation plugin that is Tape Crusher by Audio Assault. It's pretty cool. It sounds good. Again, it just adds a little extra something. If I was to turn those off, like, you'd barely notice the difference, but the vocals just stick out of the mix a little bit less, and I don't want to have to turn them up more. I just want them to sit in the right spot and then go through, because I'm really big on gain staging, and I like everything to like hit at certain points and stuff. And like, I don't mix with my eyes. Like, I get it to that level, and then I adjust if, you know, I hear something that has to come up or down a little bit. But I like to kind of like get to a certain level so everything is like going into the final mix bus, you know, like usually around like -6 dB, and then I can throw a limiter on, crank the volume up to commercial level, and done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mix this down. Like the instruments and everything are pretty much mixed. I'm just gonna get the vocals to sit in there, and I just gotta like turn things up like a dB or down a dB, like, you know, just tiny little micro adjustments just to get it, because this is, like I said, this is just like throw it on and see how it sounds. But then I'm going to have the video where you're going to see multiple split screens and me playing all of the parts together, and then I have the final mix playing underneath as the audio, and then I'm going to put that out as its own video the next day, and then I always do the guitar solo from the song. So you can see all of those. If you like the video, like and subscribe. I know it's a little bit long, and it's something that you really have to be interested in to watch the whole thing, but I just like to do this for someone who's like interested in songwriting and really wants to see how it's done. This is just my take on it. Like, this is what I do and like how I've like worked it out. I mainly play guitar, so I always start with a guitar, but pick your main instrument, pick your main thing, and experiment and stuff. But set up the big. What am I saying? So basically just set up an outline for yourself how you want to start things, and that'll get you going. And then, when you get used to that, then you can get creative from there. But that's the main idea. Anyway, like and subscribe, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought, and just say hi. I don't care. But yeah, just and see you next time. Cool.
Well,